The cultural attraction I visited was the Zen Buddhist Temple of Chicago. I grew up Catholic and am now a Protestant Christian, and so this was quite a different experience for me. This temple practices the Mahayana Buddhism called Zen, which is meditation. Buddhism is non-theistic. It's based off the teachings of the life of Buddha. Buddha is not God, but he's just someone who was very wise, and Buddhists base their life off of. This particular temple was founded in 1949, and it's in Evanston. The practice of Zen Buddhism specifically emerged in the 13th or 14th century, and at this temple, most of the attendees are white converts, not people who were raised in Buddhism from birth. The services held at this Buddhist temple typically have about 10 people in each one. They're very open to visitors. The services are led by one of 4 reverends or a disciple. There are services held 3 times per week, 2 of which are on Sundays and 1 is on a Wednesday. Each service is about 2 hours long, and the majority of services is spent in seated meditation. There are also special events that are held at the temple, like retreats or just beginning classes for newcomers to Buddhism. One feature of Zen Buddhism that's important is Zazen. Zazen has 3 substituents: the body, the breath, and the mind. They are both interdependent and interrelated. An example of that is that the body position during meditation is important because a good posture will naturally cause deep breaths without having to think about breathing deeply. Breath and breathing deeply are important because it helps to settle the body and the mind. And the mind is used differently during Zazen than it typically is. So the mind is just for observing, not for thinking. We just want to observe where our mind is and not create new thoughts. When a thought arises during meditation, you're supposed to cut it off and get back to work. You're supposed to get back to the work of looking inwardly at the state of your mind before any other thought arises. During my visit, there are definitely some differences I noticed between any other cultural or religious experience I'd had in this one. I noticed that cleanliness and order were very important. When I first walked in, I was asked to place my shoes on a rack, to hang my coat up, and to wash my hands in the bathroom. After this happened, we were to take a position on a black mat with a black pillow facing either a wall or a partition in the middle of the room. Once everyone obtained a position in the room, we were handed a paper with the Heart Sutra on it and asked to stand. While standing, the Reverend began the service by banging on a pot-shaped metal object 4 times, followed by a bang on a hollow wooden object. He then introduced the Heart Sutra and began banging on the wooden object at a steady pace to set the tempo as we chanted the Heart Sutra with him in English. The chant was followed by a 40-minute meditation period, a 10-minute walking meditation, and another 40-minute meditation period. The second meditation period was different than the first, in that the Reverend spoke during this time. He spoke of the importance of understanding emptiness and realizing the amount of suffering found in our world. The service ended with another chanting of the Heart Sutra, only this time in Japanese. After the chant, we were to walk to the altar, bow, and burn incense on the charcoal on the altar. After the service, the Reverend invited everyone for tea so that he could answer any questions we had. Here's a quote from what the Reverend said during his talk on suffering during the second meditation period. He noted that some religions have saviors or messiahs to release them from the suffering of this world or to help them into the next. People without religion, I guess, have Budweiser to help them forget about the suffering of the world, at least for now. What does Buddhism have? We have these black mats and these black pillows. When I think about what he meant by this, I think it's that suffering is something that we can't avoid. Other people try to make solutions for it, and Buddhists just try to take it in and just kind of know that it exists, and to be aware of each other and to be aware of your own suffering, and to deal with it mostly via meditation and not via any particular solution. Overall, I did enjoy my trip to the Zen Buddhist Temple of Chicago, although I think taking that much time to empty your mind would take some practice and some getting used to before it was more natural and more fulfilling. I'm glad I got a chance to do something cross-cultural, and now I have a little bit more of a window into the Buddhist world. If I do have students who are Buddhists, then I can connect with them on a little bit different level than I would have been able to if I didn't have this experience. Thank you.